Crystal Ford Berry, and I'll tell you a little bit about my story and then some things that I would like to share with each and every one of you. I'm a lawyer, and I'm also a financial planner. I started my career at one of the large law firms here in Hartford, and that's where you were supposed to be. That's what I went to school to be. I was supposed to be at the biggest, best firm. I hated it. I hated it. And I said to myself, I spent all this time going to school. I went to Ivy League undergrad, Ivy League law school, and this is what I'm supposed to do. So it took a little while for me to say, this is really not for me. And there were aspects of things that I did enjoy and aspects of things that I did not enjoy. I didn't like the facade where you have to just be there for the sake of being there. We have what we call billable hours, and you have to be there no matter what you're doing. And it's pretty cutthroat, you know, in terms of the billable hours and what you have to do. So I didn't like that aspect of things, but what I did like was talking to the clients and counseling the clients. I love that. So I did something that was very unusual. People didn't think that I could do it. I started my own firm. And as it was, all of the clients came with me. So I felt pretty good about that. At that time, I was representing the doctors at Hartford Hospital in their corporate matters and in their real estate matters, their investment matters. So just in conversation with people, because I love people, they would ask me, what should I be doing with my money? That wasn't the area of expertise that I had, but I enjoyed that conversation. So I went and I got the necessary licenses, and therein launched law office and financial services. So I say that to say, sometimes we get on these tracks that we think we're supposed to be on and stay on. But if it doesn't feel good, you know, it wasn't really speaking to my spirit, I said I had to change it. And so I really now consider what I do, my practice. I've been in practice for 39 years, my ministry. This is my calling. This is what I enjoy doing. And in doing that, I can actually see tangible results of people's lives that I have impacted. And Wanda was talking about home ownership. Obviously, I do closing, so I see, you know, how that has helped people. But it's in building the pyramid that's really important. And one of the things that really solidified my desire to be a financial planner was I had closed a home for a young couple, and it was a brand new home that they had built out in Tallinn. And 3 months later, the husband was dead of a massive heart attack. When they closed the house, I said, as I talked to all the clients, I said, do you have insurance? No. I said, well, you need insurance. You know, I mean, this is something you really need to have. So, you know, people, they trust you, they go with you. His wife, to this day, her life would not be as it were if it had not been for that conversation. And it's the implementation. You have to follow through. You have to follow through. You know, tomorrow's not promised to anybody. And in 3 months' time, I remember so clearly sitting in front of the Sheraton. You remember that was the building, the Sheraton that was downtown? And someone called and told me that this man had a massive heart attack and died. I mean, I just sat right down. I couldn't believe it. But I did know that as much as that family's life had changed, financially they were going to be okay. That's real tangible stuff. That's something that you know, okay, I'm having an impact here. That was a good thing to do. So financial and estate planning go hand in hand. You cannot have an estate plan with nothing in it. You can't have a financial plan with no estate plan. So earlier someone was leave a legacy. Legacy planning is huge. And the one thing someone mentioned earlier, I don't remember, about the end of life conversation. Nobody wants to talk about it. And when I was interning, it's so funny how life happens, but I mean, originally when I was interning, I said I would be an estate planner. And I said, no, I don't really want to do that. That's about death. So now here I am, 39 years later. Still, doing this. But the reality of that is we are all going to leave here. And as I share with clients, if you're looking down from heaven, are you going to be happy with what you see? If your family is struggling, how are you going to feel about that when you know you had opportunity? You know you had opportunity to address it, but we just don't address it. And the conversation back then was, oh, I'm not going to go, because if I have this conversation, then I'm going to die. And it's going to be this old white guy, and he's not going to know what I'm talking about. That's the picture that we have of an estate planning attorney. That's not the case. That's not me. See? But these are things that really do get in our way. These really get in our way, and they cause us to just stop and say, okay, I'm going to get around to it. I have a saying that I use, that I draw a circle, right? So you can visualize the circle, and then in the middle I put TUIT. That's around to it. It means nothing. You can't get around to it. You make a choice to say either I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this. Whatever you decide is fine, but it's your choice. And we as women, we are the ones who lead that conversation in our households. We're the ones who lead that conversation. If you left it up to the men, not so much, right? Not so much. So this whole idea of financial and estate planning go hand in hand. Another little vignette I want to share with you. When I was interning my first year of law school, walked past the travel agency up into the office, and they had all these huge signs out. Come in and get a loan for a vacation. And I said to myself, why would you need a loan to take a vacation? But the reality is, millions of people do that. Millions of people do that. Now, at that time, they would actually go in and get a loan. What they do today is what? Charge it. Charge it. Everything, go charge it, go charge it, go charge it. So, this overspending, and how do you get into a situation of overspending when you have a job, you have income? So where is this lack of discipline taking us? But into a spiral downward. And so visualize this. Our upkeep, that's your maintenance, right? So if your outflow, that's the money that you've got going out every single month, exceeds your income, then the upkeep of that exercise is your definite downfall. Just keep that in the back of your mind. There is no need to spend more money than you have. And we have to be very disciplined about making that adjustment, because financial planning is simple, but it's not easy.
That's right.
It's very simple. If you gave a child 5 cents and said, here's the money that you're going to spend, and they said, well, I want that costs 10 cents, you'd say you don't have that money. But every single day we're getting into these traps, and the traps are marketed at us every single, really in every aspect of your life. So we have to really become different thinkers about our lives. Because if I asked you, why do you go to work every day? What would you say?
Because I have to.
Because you have to. You have to.
Because I have to.
Yes, you have to. What is another reason? Why do you go to work every day?
To pay the bills.
Pay the bills. So, you want to have choices. Financial planning and estate planning are about choices. And the more choices that we have, the better your life will be. So if you don't have a choice and you have to go, that's a problem. Then you start with the spiraling of the other things. You don't like the job, you don't like the people, you don't like your salary. I gotta stay here till I can find another job. You see how this spirals over? And time waits for no one. You may say, okay, well, maybe next year I'm gonna address this. Then the next year goes by, and then the next year goes by, the next year goes by. I have seen time go by so fast since I've had grandchildren. I mean, I'm amazed at how quickly they grow, right? And they think that the time, look at this little one, you know? Now, the reality of that, though, makes us focus on what I do today matters. What I do today does matter. So rather than to say, I'm gonna wait for this, you know, get that round to it, put this off, I'm gonna check on this, I'm gonna check on that, we have to start thinking about our lives differently, because we're living them every day. We live our lives every day, but we really are not present, not conscious, we're not really here. We're just going through because we gotta pay the bill, and this bill came in, that bill came in. If you're in a marital situation, is this your bill, is this my bill? If you're in a single situation, those are your bills. So, really what I wanna convey is the importance of now for estate planning, for financial planning. Now, I told you I am a lawyer. Our son was a year old. I was working at the firm, and you know how you're just kind of sometimes zoning out walking into work? And I happened to step out on the curb, and this car put on his brakes and, you know, honked the horn. You know, I mean, really startled me. But I said to myself that very day, all right, we're gonna get the will done. Because what if something had happened? That was my son. I didn't want him just, you know, raised by anybody. You know, I wanted to have some input, because that's the legacy. That's the legacy. And we talk about here in our church, and I'm sure in other churches, generational curses. You know, you see this from generation to generation to generation, everybody starting from the beginning. It's unnecessary, absolutely unnecessary. That's a choice that people have made, but we don't have to make that choice, okay? We don't have to make that choice. So I want you to think about three things. I call them, you know, like the real hallmarks of what you need to think about. You have to invest prudently, spend wisely, and think holistically, okay? Invest prudently. So I'll give you a little sidebar for each of them. When people say invest prudently, people say, oh, I don't have any money to invest. Well, and Wanda, you talked about a budget. I call it a spending plan. Because people say, I can't do a budget. I don't know what a budget is. I don't have a budget. Well, what do you spend your money on? All of us have gone to the ATM, gotten out $100, $200 one day, and then 3 days, 2 days, a few hours later, you have no idea where that money went. So, you know, investing is critical. Those of you who are working in corporate America or even in nonprofit and you have those retirement plans, if you're not in them, get in them on Monday. It's just found money, okay? Spending sensibly. So again, if you want to take a vacation, but you don't have the money, don't take the vacation. Simple. Save up, you know? Cash. I talk to my clients about being cash girls and cash guys. Cash is king. And if you don't have cash, we need to start and accumulate that liquidity, because stuff is gonna happen. And then what do? Go charge it. Then go charge this card to pay that card. I can tell you some stories that I've seen. It's inexcusable. But it can be changed.
That's right.
It can be changed. And then the last thing is thinking holistically. So when I say that, I mean you really have to think about all aspects of your life, okay? Not just what bills am I gonna pay this month? Am I gonna be able to buy a home? Am I able to help somebody else? Am I able to be a benefactor to someone else because someone helped me? Okay? This is a holistic thing. And one final thing, and you'll see how simple it is, and I hope some of you really do engage in this activity. Every single $5 bill that you get from this day forward, what's today? 17th. November 17th, for 1 year, every single $5 bill that you get, change, etc., right? Take that $5 bill and just put it aside. That's simple. Take that $5, set it aside, and in 1 year's time, go back and see how much money you have. I will tell you, I've had over $1,000.
Wow.
$1,000, not even thinking. It drives my husband crazy. But, you know, because, ooh, a 5, you know? But it is really emblematic of how you can see, you can actually see this happen. And that's without thinking. So if you can kind of get into that habit, and then you're starting to invest in your job, you go work with somebody, whatever it is, you will see how your life changes without any real effort. Without any real effort, because we all have this idea, it's so hard, I don't have any money, I have to pay the bills. Just start that way, okay? So do the $5 challenge, and next year, as Trita says, we're gonna see who's gotten the most money, okay?
All right. Tweet that.